Uh, Hello, Professor. My name is Pankaj Sharma. My student ID number is 100935818. And this particular video is the assignment number 4 submission for data 2202 ethics and leadership. In this particular assignment, I will be covering the concept and the term of whistleblowing and whistleblowers, and there are certain aspects I will be focusing, though, and they are listed as follows: ethical importance of whistleblowing, financial, legal, and societal importance of whistleblowing, the different type of whistleblower protection that exists, the difference between Canada, US, and UK's legal jurisdictions, and the evaluation of those laws. I will also talk about some of arguments, even though there are not a lot arguments against whistleblowing, but I will try to highlight a couple of them. And I will also provide a non-American example of whistleblowing that happened not less than 25 years ago. So uh, let's get into it. Uh, when I started working on this assignment and started my research, my first question was, what is whistleblowing's definition and what exactly whistleblowing covers? Because according to my definition, whistleblowing is if you see something wrong happening in your organization or government, uh, you report it and some investigation happens on it and you get an outcome. So this is a definition that I knew, but while researching, I found a definition by National Whistleblower Center, which just says that on simplest level, a whistleblower is someone who reports waste, fraud, abuse, corruption, or dangers to public health and safety. And they also highlighted that whistleblowers are usually the people who are working in that organization where the wrongdoings and illegal activities are happening, because only if you are part of the system you can understand and do the detection of the wrongdoings more clearly. So the first question I want to answer is the ethical importance of whistleblowing. So I think whistleblowing plays a very vital role while upholding the ethical standard of any organizations. If, as a whistleblower, you go out and you see something illegal or unethical happening in your company or in a particular government department and you report it through the right channels, what you are doing is you are protecting the integrity and also the reputation of that organization. Right? Every company has their particular protocols, every company has their policies, and not a lot wants to come into light as someone who's doing illegal activities. So if you, as a very responsible employee, a responsible citizen who sees something unethical or illegal happening and you're reporting it, it protects and it makes the whole process, and it also makes the organization more transparent, which are, I think, the pillars of ethical uh, perspectives. It makes the stakeholders, it also makes the company's decision makers more accountable to the public. So while while I read this, a thought came to me that because whenever we see a news about a whistleblower, we uh, we heard how information comes out from an organization or from maybe a department in the government. We see a whistleblower, and usually the whistleblower is someone who gets hurt. They usually lose their jobs. They have to act anonymously. Sometimes they even leave the country. Look at Snowden and all these guys. They come out with important information for the public, highlighting illegal and unethical activities, and even after that, they get hurt. So I was curious about what are the basic intentions of it and how does that work. So I found this article. It's the name of the article is a little unprofessional, I would like to say. I will include the link of it in my document where all the references will be listed. So the name of the article was Snitches Get Stitches and End Up in Ditches, a systemic review of the factors associated with whistleblowing intentions, which was overlooking, and it's by National Library of Medicine, known as. About the intentions. So I would like to give a brief, because it was a very long article, I would like to give some brief details about it. the main points that they talked about was they argued that a whistleblower can facilitate detection, investigation, and the prosecution of violation that otherwise go undetected. So a simple reporting can actually kickstart that can become something very big. I see some things. I see illegal activity in my organization, and I see, hey, this is wrong. I should report it. But when the investigations happen, it might become something huge. It might come out as something as a huge billion-dollar scam or complete fraud, and or maybe a decades long process which needs to be rectified in the, as we know, we're living in the age of data right now. Even if your company is doing something illegal or something wrong, it will come out one day or another and it will destroy your image. So I think uh, whistleblowing, the intention behind it is not just ethical, it's also professional. And the second thing was they talked about uh, a different dimensions related to the whistleblowing, which also inspires a person to go out and do it. I'm not going to explain all of them, but I will like to list them here. They were as follows: personal factors, organizational factors, cost and benefits, outcome expectancies, the offense, reporting the wrongdoer, and social factors. In the particular article, they also said one more thing. They said every organization, no matter how small or no matter how big, they should provide information. They should make their employees even more aware about whistleblowing. If you're a growing organization and you know that people uh, want the company they work for to do ethical stuff, to be ethical in the front of their clients, in front of their stakeholders and their loyal customers. So you should include the information about whistleblowing, the laws that protect you, the laws and the hotlines and the right channels if you wanna ever make a report. It should always be included. I know a lot of organization does that, but not on regional levels or not on smaller companies, not. But it should be included in their training packages and benefit packages. That should not just be ethically right. I think it should also be legally correct, because if you include it in your protocols, it will help you in the long terms. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Next question we have is the perspective of financial, legal, and societal importance in whistleblowing. I think financial side and the legal side is very self-explanatory, right? From a financial perspective, it can save a business. If the news, if I find something in my company and I think it's fraud, and I report this in through internal channels in my company, and the investigation takes place and we have an positive output of that particular investigation, is something productive has been done on it and the fraud has been stopped, the ethical unethical practices is not happening anymore. Amazing. But it doesn't really happen a lot. Usually the information of something fraud, corruption, or any financial mismanagement, it comes out. It comes out through media channels, comes out through social media, somebody leaks the information, and it takes away the whole reputation of a business. And they go bankrupt. People stop buying their products because even though they make amazing products, the controversy of fraud, it will rule the reputation and will do long lasting damage. From ethical perspective, from legal perspective, from financial perspective, it can destroy a business. And if company is doing something fraudulent, it will hurt the stakeholders, it will hurt the investors, it will also hurt the customers, and most of with these parties, our organization usually have legal bindings. So if they come under fraud, they will not just be answerable to the government, to the laws, but to the stakeholders and investors as well. And they will lose their trust with the company and will not put any more money and no more resources in it, and it will destroy it. And the social importance, which I think is a very integral part of this perspective, is if an employee comes out with the information of an unethical practice and companies see this as an opportunity and fixes it right away, and then broadcast the information that, hey, we found this issue, we fixed it right away, and it will never happen again. It will make the company look more professional, more humane, and customers, and even though the audience they never really targeted, will look at it and be like, hey, this is a trustworthy company. We should take our business to them. It will give them a growth. So it will change their whole image as a do good company. Like, if imagine Volvo has always been connected as something they do good, right? They developed the seat belts. So whenever we think about Volvo, we think about safety, right? No questions asked. That image is rock solid. It's there. So why should an organization make their image as a company who does the right thing? And it will attract more audience, which will attract money in the long term. And every organization's final goal is the monetary uh, incentives, is the money. Okay. I also found a little article about the risks and the dilemma of it in whistleblowing practices. There were two interesting things about in that article. I will leave the link of the article in it. It's about the dilemma of the risk which is present in the whistleblowing practice. The thing which caught my eye was people usually, when they make a they come out with the information as a whistleblower, they don't know what particular law uh, under which and what should the right channel they should follow to do the right thing. Sometimes they're not anonymous, they comes out, it destroys their career. And sometimes, even though the employee is coming out with the report of something fraudulent going on in the company, they get convicted, which happens. Definitely. Every company needs a scapegoat, and if the employee doesn't know the correct law and doesn't really aware of what is he doing, he will get some issues out of it. So they should know what laws uh, under which they can be under which laws umbrella they can function and make their reporting and make their whistleblowing process even more effective and long lasting. And it also comes back to the information where a company should start empowering and making their employees even more aware. So let's talk about some whistleblowing protections, as we know the importance of understanding these laws if you are being ethical in and doing some whistleblowing practicing and trying to be a whistleblower in a company where you see something unethical happen. So even though every country has different laws for it, the basic core principles which trying to protect a whistleblower from authorities or from an organization which is trying to harm them is pretty similar. So basic, they have pretty common provisions. They have basics which comes back to each other with the same perspective, which is safeguarding someone from retaliation from the company if they come out with their information. Anonymity is very, I'm sorry, anonymity is very important. Legal immunity is something that which is definitely required, and financial rewards. It will motivate someone who's thinking, hey, if I come out with this information, I will get fired. But if you have illegal immunity and financial rewards, you will do the right thing because it will give you the extra motivation even to do the right thing, which a democratic government should do. Right. So in a particular, in this assignment, we were told to look at the legal acts and the bills of whistleblowing, which protects whistleblowing in Canada, America, and United Kingdom. I came across three major acts in all of these countries. So I'm going to list them. The first one is from America, US False Claim Acts. The second one is Canada's Public Service Disclosure Protection Act, and from UK, Public Interest Disclosure Act. Now, the difference between these three is not a lot, but when you start studying them, you see there are basic things that missing. And it also gives you a picture of how the processes has been done in these developed countries. So the first one, the Americans Act, which is False Claim Act, it actually provides financial incentives for whistleblowers who have the proof and comes through the right channels. It doesn't matter if you are a federal employee or you work in the private sector. If you have the correct proof of something fraudulent and unethical practice of a company, and if you make a complaint or reports it, and if that report comes under this particular act, you will be protected and you will be given financial incentives. Amazing. The second one from Canada is where the picture changes. The whole act is basically focuses on the internal employees who work for the federal government. And so, what about the private practices? I'm sure there are other bills which protects private sector employees who come out with these informations, but it's not very strong. And I think Canadian government should start working on it. And the United Kingdom one is also behaves pretty similarly. They also figures shows that their particular act protects the government employees more, which is a good thing, but it ignores the private sector a little bit because I think there are loopholes which is usually exploited by the legal teams of private companies, and governments don't really do that. But this is a very good start, according to me, to motivate people to be more ethical in their day-to-day work in their organizations. And I think this is a very good start. The evaluation of them was done, not a lot of differences is found. So I found a small article about it. I I didn't really take a lot of information from it, but it usually just said that in Canada, whistleblower protection laws has evolved to cover a wide range of disclosures, including violation of laws, gross mismanagement, and threat to public safety. The issue is that even though it covers all these problems, the numbers doesn't really show that any meaningful action has been taken on them. Even if someone comes out with the information, action doesn't really take place. Always some sort of bureaucracy that stops them. And it's a little bit smoother in America because you get financial incentives, and those incentives are directly proportional to the money involved in those practices. So you get that even more so you can get a legal team with you and you can actually have a positive impact. It needs a lot of work. That's what I'm trying to say. And let's think that all these laws and all these acts, they work pretty smoothly in big cities. If I work working in London and I feel something that something fraudulent is going on, and if I go to the right authorities through the right particular channel under the right law, because I know I've researched, I will be protected one way or another. I will not be harmed. I might not lose my job. My career will not be harmed. I think I will be fine. But imagine if I'm working at a very small uh, regional company at a very small town, maybe in a factory, and I see something unethical. Maybe the company is not taking care of the safety of the employees. If the company is trying to cut wages by hiring temporary employees, or a lot of other practices to save money, to cut cost, increase benefit, which puts human life in danger. And if you want to come out, it's really hard, especially at the places where you're not even a permanent employee. But you, as a temporary employee, you see a lot of these things, but you don't know your correct rights. So there are definitely challenges and definitely a lot of opportunities for these governments in local areas to increase awareness in their in the people in the communities to come out, because it does happen a lot. As an international student, I have worked in factories as a temporary employee. I have worked at construction sites as temporary employees, and I have seen uh, wrong practices there. But the first thought comes into my mind, hey, I'm just a temporary employee. I might work here, I might not even come and work here tomorrow. But I should have the know-how, I should have the opportunity to come out and tell the authorities that, hey guys, something wrong is happening here and it might affect people, it will hurt some people in the future. Something should be done. But I don't have the right information. But if that information is given at a larger way through the companies and the government itself, people will even be a little bit more confident about it. So there's a lot of work, but I think after the amount of research I've done, I've seen that people and there are a lot of entities that actually doing a very meaningful and positive work by providing awareness and making people understand the need of whistleblowing as in this particular world that we are living now, where everything should be transparent and we want it to be transparent. Everyone wants information and everyone wants uh, to n- know the know-how of where the of their at least of their surroundings of their workplace. So yeah. So before I provide a example of a successful whistleblowing experience in Canada, I would like to give a couple arguments against whistleblowing. Throughout this presentation, I've said multiple times that before you come out as a whistleblower, there are a lot of things that goes in your mind that my career might get damaged, my job, my family will get affected, the society around the community of it. If I come out and if the company goes under, everyone will lose their jobs. All these things come out. These can be arguments against whistleblowing, but are they ethical? I don't think so. Ethical it's a very big umbrella. A lot of people comes under, the whole society comes under it. So I think the whistleblowing argument is for organizations should exist. Like if a company can stop whistleblowing information to go out and fix it internally without leaking, it can safe keep the image of that organization, and it can also save the stakeholders and also can protect the company from financial damage and legal damages. And I think the only argument I have for this is if anyone making whistleblowing, if anyone is a whistleblower and if coming out with information, it should be handled internally and it should be fixed. So I know I don't really have a lot of arguments, but I didn't really find thought there shouldn't be a lot of arguments against whistleblowing, as I think whistleblowing is the right practice and it should be happening a lot of the time. But I know the argument is you can lose your job, organization can lose the money, company go can go under, people can lose their jobs, their families will get affected, the community will get hurt. Imagine a factory who's been running in a community for 30 years and almost the whole community's families rely on that factory to make money and eat. And you come out as a whistleblower and gives out information to the government, and the government puts a lock on the door on that factory. Everyone loses their job, their families will starve. So there are arguments for it, but I think this whistleblowing is a ethical practice and it should be done in correct ways. And if it can be implemented in the right way and it can be resolved internally, everybody wants. Okay, so why I was looking for an example of successful uh, whistleblowing experience, I found multiple, but there was one which caught my eye, which actually connected of even though the countries have their acts and practices and laws in place, it still makes whistleblowing really, really hard. So, example I found was a police officer from Melbourne, Australia, Mr. Ross Alderson. I'm gonna uh, take a look at my notes, and I will try to provide a timeline of the whole process that he had to go through. So he was a cop in Australia, Melbourne, and then he moved to British Columbia, and there he become he started working at the British Columbia Lottery Corporation as lottery investigator. Over time, he worked on different cases, but by the 2015, he found out he became the director of anti-money laundering uh, department in British Columbia. So there he started working with the intelligence and he found out that there was something wrong and there were no money bars or trigger sources funds at the casinos in River Rock Casino in British Columbia. So, but even after he found out, he put a $20,000 limit of the spending because he was thinking that there is no limit. People can do bets. House always wins. Something fishy is going on. So he kept on working on it. He kept on reporting it. Imagine this is the director of anti-money laundering organization and department. He's the whistleblower here. So after 3 years of investigation, the Financial Action Task Force conduct a case study of the e-piracy investigation on that particular casino, and they found out that there is a laundering process going on, which launder almost more than $1 billion every year. So Anderson meets by the time of 2019, he comes out with all the information and with the evidence. Uh, he wants to do it, but due to some reasons, the investigation takes place, but nothing really happens. So in 2019, he comes out and provides the information to the journalist with all the money laundering information, how it is happening, the complete specifics of it, the whole numbers, and then the Attorney General of BC takes notice of it. Another investigators comes in, and by and the whole investigation takes 2 years, and by 2021 uh, Alder's actions lead to the development of effective corporate beneficial owner registries, consideration of unexplained wealth orders, and change to operations of FinTrack, as well as plan to develop better mechanism for whistleblowers to report money laundering and improved protections from whistleblowers. I'm sorry for paper reading, but this line should be read that his actions almost took more than 6 years, and finally the law accepted and the a real change which was implemented right now in British Columbia, which is a very liberal province of Canada, and all the laws are already in place by 2015. An official government has to go through the right channel, and after doing that, he have to go to media houses to get the information out, and then the Attorney General and federal authorities take notice of it and actually makes meaningful decisions. So even for a government employee, 6 years, it's not a small time. And imagine from someone who's working in a private sector, how much time it will take. So even though there are laws in place, I think they can become better, and I think their efficiency should be increased. I know there are a lot of things to discuss here, uh, but I think I have covered as best as I could. And this was very a good opportunity to learn. I thank you, Professor. Amazing, very informative and very learning assignment. And thank you for your time. And this is my submission for the assignment 4. Thank you.